Hey guys, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews. Today we're looking at this guy. This is the D-Link DWA-192 Ultra Performance Series AC1900 Wi-Fi dongle. It's not really a dongle, it's more like this really cool sphere. Let's see if it's any good. Right, and so I bought this little ball of internet glory for about 50 euros because I wanted to basically find out if my Surface Pro was limiting my performance results in my router testing, because I have an awful lot of router reviews online if you haven't seen those already. So this one I used, did all the testing again. It was so much faster. So this one inside has a 3x3 antenna configuration. It supports all the technologies. Like, this is the box. It's basically covered in specs and just, you know, supports all the technologies that there are, like the beam forming, all that sort of stuff, and the smart band finding that the router also does, but whatever. It's really high performance. Setup though, bit of a different story for me personally. It is very easy to set up. You just download the software, install the software, plug it into the little hole. It's USB 3, by the way, for optimal performance. Performs really well, easy to set up. But then I was getting blue screens every time with my Surface Pro. Removed everything, installed it again, somehow it was working again. Maybe I got, you know, a bad install, maybe not, who knows. It's fine now. So this thing, let's talk about performance, because there's not much to it really other than a WPS button and this button here, which I still don't know what it actually does. Talk about performance a little bit. So at a very close range, we were getting speeds in the 90s. Right, that is insane. 19 megabytes a second over Wi-Fi on AC 5 gigahertz with a 3x3 router as well. I use the Netgear Nighthawk because it is basically my favorite router because it has this insane range. And this thing also helps with range. So while some numbers run over your screen right now, the range with this thing that I was getting. So while in the extreme range test, I usually was getting about 1 megabyte a second, we were now getting 7. And I'm sure that you can go even further away from the access points if you have an antenna like this instead of the built-in antenna in your laptop. Now, D-Link markets this thing as something to add to a very old router that's not, you know, on AC. Maybe it's still on N. Oh, for God's sake, why would it still be on N? But anyway, that's how they market it. I, however, think that it's actually not really used for that. You're not going to have USB 3.0 on those old devices anyway. So I have it with my Surface Pro for the pure reason of insane Wi-Fi speeds. And what this helps do is, you know, remote desktoping, using the network, using the NAS all wirelessly. The in-home streaming, if I want to use Steam in-home streaming, that's what it's also really good for. And, you know, on those Ultrabooks nowadays or convertibles, you don't have that gigabit Ethernet port, so you can't just get a little, you know, Ethernet cable, plug it in, won't work. So that's why I decided to go with one of these as well. But mainly it's just for my performance reviewing. I'm just going to use these in tests for each separate router, but for the entire database, I will continue to use the Surface Pro with its built-in 2x2 antennas. So guys, conclusion time, the DWA-192, insanely fast. It is 50 euros, which makes it among the more expensive USB Wi-Fi dongles. It's also among the larger ones. It does dangle out of your system with a USB cable, so you can position it a bit better. But it's definitely not small. It's definitely not lightweight. So if you're traveling a lot, you may not want to keep it with you all the time. But it's really good. The performance is insane. We were getting 80 plus megabytes a second on the first floor. In the 50s on the second floor, we were still getting upwards of 20. 2 floors above where the router sits. In the garden, we were still getting 20, 30. In the garden house, still 10 megabytes a second. Those are not megabits, megabytes a second. So really impressive performance by this little guy. I'm looking forward to testing a bunch more of D-Link stuff. And for now, guys, thank you very much for watching. That was my dog, by the way. Anyway, I'm not redoing this. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please press that like button. If you didn't like the video, there's always a dislike button. Of course, there's also a subscribe button, so when I do put up something you do like, you can see it right away. Those videos go live on a Friday at 7 or on a Tuesday at 7 if I have too many videos going on. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to follow the channel even more, support it, there are links in the video description below. Cheers!